You were right, Terak. This game of whack-a-mole is a lot of fun. Terak! Oh no, Terak, no!
Hello everyone and welcome to the recent review. Today we're going to be taking a look at set number 71309, Onua, Uniter of Earth. The set contains approximately 143 pieces, was released in the winter of 2016, and at time of release was approximately $20. We will also be taking a look at set number 71304, Terak, Creature of Earth. The set contains approximately 74 pieces, was also released during the winter of 2016, and at time of release was approximately $10. Before we begin the review, let us go ahead and get the disclaimer out of the way. Just because there are pros and cons in this video does not necessarily mean they are my personal opinion. I do my best to provide these videos to all of you as objectively as possible, so any comments or observations that are made are those taken from the community as community opinions, and I'm presenting them all as hopefully as equally as possible, or objective facts about the set that I can represent here on camera. With that out of the way, let me make it very clear, unless I explicitly say, please do not assume it's my personal opinion. Let's get in the review. Starting off with Onua. As we can see here, a lot has actually changed with him. He's a lot taller and a lot slimmer. Keep in mind, he is still the broadest shouldered of all the Toa. However, he's gotten rid of the solid purple, and he's also gotten rid of the stickers. However, his color scheme does still have purple, gold, and black. That is consistent. He also additionally has some gunmetal in his feet and the pelvis. However, it's not really that noticeable. So while he is still broad-shouldered, he is much taller than his prior incarnation. He actually does keep a lot of the same pieces, specifically the 2015 add-on piece, while also bringing us some new transparent pieces, specifically on his arms and upper legs. And actually his lower legs, now that I think about it. His hammer has also changed. Instead of being short and being able to break apart into two claws, he now has one large war hammer, which doubles as a blaster and a drill. The drill component will actually fire the launcher. Coming with Onua as far as new recolors would be his lower arm armor pieces, as well as his upper leg armor pieces, his lower leg bone pieces, and the lower and upper arm bone pieces. They're all new recolors in transparent purple, and they look phenomenal. Talking to you, Jagbricks, I know you like them. We can also see the new mask mold, which is quite neat. He comes with two of them. Comes with the standard colored one in black melded with silver, as well as a gold one melded with transparent purple, and this one looks especially nice. We also have a new eye stalk mold. It's much shorter, so the mask actually connects more solidly. However, it still can come off just fine. We also get the new crystal piece, and instead of being gold and purple mixed, which you'd expect it to be, it's actually gold and transparent, so it shines right through into the transparent purple, which is kind of interesting. It's very versatile that way. We also get a bunch of new pieces for the torso, specifically the pelvic piece in gunmetal, the torso beam in black, and a new chest armor piece also in black. Now, right out the gate, one thing I'd like to make a comment on for this specific torso piece is that a lot of people have been mentioning it looks more copper in color as opposed to gold. That's because the printing on it is on a black, dark colored piece. So the gold may originally have started out similar to the stuff on his shoulders and hips, however then become this darker shade because it's on a black piece. We do see the return of the Nuva symbol from 2002 that is transplanted right on his chest, and that's really neat to see. His actual build is quite intricate. It's quite a unique design. We can see that it has a lot of facets to it. It's quite broad-shouldered, but it is also quite gappy. You can see a lot of openings, and a lot of people feel that the shoulder configuration and the kind of Borak eyes going up into his armpits looks kind of unusual. It does its best to fill those spots as best it can and give him some extra bulk. However, it does look a little awkward to some. Speaking of awkward, his shoulders. Gone with the silver, in with the transparent purple, which is quite nice. We see the return of the kind of skull ribcage piece from 2015. Still in purple, not new, However, it's now on his shoulders, and they can be moved up, down, left, right, however, except that they're kinda positioned in a way where you can only really have them in a slight upward angle. They do not go flat across. No matter what you do, they're always going to be pointed up, either toward his head or away from his head. And a lot of people do not exactly appreciate that. Some really do like this piece because it looks quite crystalline. Looks a lot like cave crystals that you'll find, very spiky, very sleek and slender. So a lot of people do appreciate that. Let's go ahead and move into functionality. So aside from the standard points of articulation, 3 in the arms, 3 in the legs, 1 in the head, and the additional 4 on his shoulders with the shoulder armor, we also get 1 in the waist. Now this is quite new, it's the new feature for 2016. If you turn a gear on the back of Onua, it will turn his upper torso. So that way the hammer can swing back and forth. It's quite a nice function, it works quite well. However, a little bit of caution needs to be taken with this. It does, in some cases, make an audible squeaking sound. Now there are 2 ways you can go about fixing it. One is you can rip it apart once again, which is difficult to do, and then put it back together, because it's 2 pieces, or you can kind of swab it or dust it off right before you actually put the pieces together. In both instances, the squeaking won't happen. However, it will reduce the friction significantly. So, at your own risk. The other function for Onua would be his weapon. Now, instead of the dual functionality weapon he had in 2015, this time he still has dual functionality, it just doesn't need to be taken apart in order to see that happen. On his hammer, he actually has a built-in blaster. So while a hammer head will spin, either a drill or the blaster, you can turn the drill portion of this configuration, and it will fire the stud shooter that you see in the front. Works the same way as any other, and it works quite well. However, be careful because you can very easily lose those pieces. So overall, Onua is actually quite a solid set. He's nothing out of this world. However, he's certainly not that bad. One complaint I have heard is with his arms. They're asymmetric. They have different designs. One of them is kind of a open ball joint that can go wherever it wants. Another one is kind of locked in place. And from the designer himself, John Ho, has said that this was intentional. They did this because otherwise he wouldn't have been able to hold his hammer properly. It's not an exact quote, you'll have to go look it up. However, that was an intentional design in order for stability purposes. Another complaint I have heard is that Onua does have some gunmetal, which he didn't have before, and some people do not like that. Another thing to note is that Onua, aside from having the 6 rounds in his actual launcher, has an additional 6 on his lower leg, the left leg. And it's actually kind of neat because all those extra stud pieces, you don't have to kind of put away somewhere. They're not loose. They actually go on the character, so if you lose any, they're right there. It's kind of a neat way to incorporate that, add some more pieces, but keep it all contained to the set. It's quite appreciated, and it looks not that bad. So that's Onua. Let's go ahead and move on to Terak. And here we have the creature of Earth. As we can see here, he's kind of small, but kind of works with Onua as well. As far as new recolors, we do have the same pieces as Onua. We actually do have the new smaller limbs in that color, as well as the bone pieces and the shell pieces. As far as new pieces are concerned, we do have the new crystal piece, which is also gold melded with clear. We do have the piece of unification, which is also on Onua, however I forgot to mention it. And finally we have the new headpiece, and this is the creature headpiece, and this time it is gold melded with purple, and it does look really cool. However, it is also hollow, so kind of open. A lot of common comments that people make about Terak are specifically about his function, so I'll go ahead and cover that real fast. The functionality is as follows. You go ahead and pull a tail up and down on Terak, and his arms will simultaneously move up and down. Kind of like he wants to do the thriller dance, but doesn't really know how. So his arms will move up and down. The issue here is that it doesn't have any friction, so his arms won't really stay up. Thankfully, his one arm ligament will go up because it's on a ball joint. So the function won't really affect that. However, it is floppy because there is no friction. So if you want him to do X, Y, and Z that requires him to not flop, no, sorry. Aside from that, he does have his kind of finger claws, and those work well. His points of articulation are actually less than usual. He has 2 in his arms, not counting the claw pieces, 2 in his legs, and 2 in his head, comprising his neck. Something that people do not like about him are the gray pieces, which are these Hordika heads here, the open ball joints, which we saw often with the Toa Masters back in 2015, and finally the red axles. People don't like that because they do stick out, and they're quite obnoxious to look at. Aside from that, Terak is quite a solid build. We do get some nice recolors. He's quaint. That's a good way to sum him up. And he has these fluffy little ears. So posability may not be the best. However, he's not exactly the worst, I wouldn't say. However, some may disagree. To be quite honest, that's really all I have to think of right now for Terak. There's not a whole lot to say about him. He's kind of quaint. He does come with this shadow trap, and this one's interesting because it's tailored to the Earth tribe, because it's got drills, obviously. You can close it, open it, and it will fit over a Toa's foot, and it does fit over a creature's head. So, it's kind of nice to have around, kind of neat, kind of really works with the whole hunter vibe. However, it doesn't do a whole lot, can't fold up, but that's about it. Not a whole lot there. Let's go ahead and get into the combination. As we can see, Unity mode is easily acquired. Let's go ahead and pop off the mask for Onua, and put on the gold one. And then on the back, spin them around, you'll see the axle and the pin. Go ahead and line up Terak and Onua. Just line up the hole and the pin and the axle, and click them together. Then take Terak's arms and place them snugly over Onua's shoulder pieces. Then, go ahead and take Terak's head, place it gently over Onua's mask because it will not click into place, and voila! You basically have the unification. Now, a lot of people do not like this because it feels kind of tacked on. It gives Onua a lot of extra bulk, however, a lot of people feel that it is unnecessary and looks kind of dorky. Also, the issue with his legs. Terak's legs kind of dangle, they don't really have a designated place to go, however, that's really left up to you, the builder, and the owner of the sets, to decide where they go. They can kind of just hang there, they can kind of go up, and create kind of like this almost flyer appearance, however you want it. However, a lot of people really do not like the added bulk. They feel it's unnecessary. However, on the other side, people do find it to be quite well working. They like the additional gold, and they like the additional purple crystal pieces that kind of gives it. On his head, we can see that the mask kind of does flow into the creature head quite nicely. It doesn't really detract from it whatsoever, and fills up a lot of the lack of mask space on the back of the head. So it's definitely one of the least objectionable points for this combination. Really, that generally sums it up. That has been Onua and Terak. As far as our personal TTV recommendation, our subjective opinion, we recommend both of these sets to you to buy. They are quite fun, they look quite nice. They're not exactly the worst. We wouldn't necessarily say they're the best either, but they're definitely one of the most solidly constructed and least controversial of this wave. So we do recommend go get them. It's going to run you a total of around $30, but we do assure you, you will probably get your money's worth out of them. Thank you all very much for watching. This has been the recent review. Let me know what you guys think either in the comments below or on the TTV message boards at board.ttvpodcast.com. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next time.